What is up, though, Lions fans? Motor City Cats back at it. Came to give you stats, not static. Whatever you do, keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we're going to get into some things today. We're talking about coordinators. It's a very coordinated show today. All a buzz, all a tizzy. I got to cut a bit of a promo. So bear with me, guys. I'm going to do that first, but we're also going to be talking about the coordinators while I'm cutting this promo, so it is what makes sense. So allow me to get into character. What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P of the Motor City Cats, also for LNU, here to talk to you about these coordinators. We're coordinating now. What do I think about the coordinators? We got Johnny Morton up in here, not Johnny Morton, the wide receiver, although that would be super dope. John Morton, who's been with the Lions before, who's been with Dan Campbell before. We got Coach Shep, who's with the Lions, and then he started with the Lions, and he continues to be with the Lions. He's been promoted. And we got some others that are possibly on their way out of the door. So what I think about these coordinators, let's start with Johnny Morton. Or John Morton. I mean, everybody's going to call him Johnny. Dan Campbell calls him Johnny, and just the fact that we have the connection to Johnny Morton. It's just natural as a Lions fan. If your guy's name is John, his nickname is Johnny, his last name is Morton, we're going to do it. All right, so here's some things. John Morton, or Johnny Morton, is a Michigan native. It's one of those things that if you're from Detroit, if you're from Michigan, I think basically if you're from anywhere, you're gonna root for the hometown guy. He's an hometown guy. He was born in Auburn Hills. He went to Western Michigan, yada, yada, yada. Okay? None of that actually matters. It's just part of his background. The first thing that I'm going to look, if we're going to put a positive spin on it, because obviously it wasn't the sexy hire, it wasn't the splash hire, it also wasn't the internal guy that we thought it was going to be, which was Tanner Engstrand, and we're going to talk about him a little bit later. But John Gruden is the guy that gave John Morton his start in coaching. And the significance of that is that he also played for John Gruden briefly. He was a wide receiver in the NFL. He played with John Gruden, and then obviously the NFL career didn't go as long as he wanted it to go. And then the first thing he does is talks to John Gruden, and John Gruden gives him a chance to be a coach. So then when this happens, obviously he's impressed John Gruden because he followed him to a couple different stops, right? And then John Gruden had something to say about him possibly being hired, okay, before it was made official, before it was announced. John Gruden said, I hope Detroit gets him. I know there's other teams that are trying to get him, and I know Denver doesn't want to lose him, which is also significant because we know that the head coach of the Denver Broncos is Sean Payton, and we know that Sean Payton was Dan Campbell's mentor. He still is his mentor. He still calls him up and talks to him about, certain decisions and things of this nature. They still chop it up. We know that Sean Payton is an offensive-minded head coach. He is the play caller. He is the offensive coordinator pretty much. But when he enjoys the input that the passing game coordinator gives him, and he enjoys having the passing game coordinator around, and he respects the mind of the passing game coordinator, that's saying something. And when John Gruden, who is an offensive coordinator, who is an offensive-minded head coach, Spider Y Banana, all that stuff, Gruden's quarterback camp, all of these things we know John Gruden for, despite the emails and the other things that he said. That's neither here nor there. But when John Gruden says, hey, this guy is the guy, that's got to hold some weight. And it's not just John Gruden. It's not just Sean Payton. We're going to get into some other quotes from some other people. But to continue his quote, he says, but if you can add Johnny Morton, that'd be a good reason to go have a glass of Cabernet, the best one you've got. Okay? Now, I guess he's assuming that everyone has a 1929 Rio Bijou. I don't know wine. Okay? I don't. I don't know it. Okay? But I guess, that's just what he's saying. It's a cause for celebration. So then there were some other things that people were saying about John Morton. One of those people that we may not have known this, okay, because I don't think a lot of people remember John Morton or Johnny Morton as being here in the 2022 season. But he apparently was part of the reason that Jared Goff started to evolve into the quarterback he's evolved in today. And yes, again, I will reiterate this. You are allowed to evolve. Right? You can come into an organization as a player that's on this level, and then you can go up here. It's possible. It happens. Okay? It happens. All right. So here's a quote talking about Johnny Morton. It says, yeah, well, look, I would say he's more comfortable at this time than he was last year. A lot of that has to do with what we've done offensively. I would say Lions offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, at the time. He was not Osama Ben Johnson at the time. He was just Ben Johnson. Has done a really good job, and his staff. Not only what we're doing on where we're going, bringing in Lions senior offensive assistant John Morton has been really good for us, who was at Vegas. But also, we're doing it in a number of things that he did well at LA. So I think those will help him. Now, if you're struggling to get through that quote, just understand that was Dan Campbell talking about Jared Goff's early progression in July of 2022. So that was helpful to him. And then also there was a quote from former Lions head coach Ben Johnson, who some people know as Osama Ben Johnson, and it's okay. He says this about Jared Goff's resurgence, and he gave a lot of credit to Morton. He said, yeah, well, look, I would say he's more comfortable at this time than he was last year. A lot of that has to do with No, that was the first quote. My bad. The second one, it says, I'm really proud of how he's taken the coaching this year, from Lions quarterback coach Matt Brunell, from Lions senior offensive assistant John Morton, from Lions offensive assistant JT Barrett, myself, and he's taken any criticism we've had about this game, and he's worked to improve those. And that's been on a weekly basis. So I've seen growth from him as a player, and like I said, to start the year, as long as a player is still growing, it's very encouraging as a coach. Growing, coaching, right? Okay, all right. So the biggest vote of confidence comes from the Lions head coach Dan Campbell in October of 2023. He said, "John Morton, man, Johnny's a superstar now." And there's a number of things that he did for us last year that are things that we've kept. And I really feel like that helped Tanner as well. So the thing that I can take from that is John Morton has had multiple stops with people he's made an impression on. He's had multiple stops with John Gruden. He's had multiple stops with Sean Payton. And now he's going into his multiple stop with Dan Campbell. And there's been good things to say. The only negative thing that I could see being said was from Todd Bowles, who fired him and said he didn't run the football enough. But I feel like if you've been around Dan Campbell, if you've been around Sean Payton, if you've been around John Gruden, if you've been around Ben Johnson, you know how to run the football. If you come into Detroit with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, you're going to run the football. So I don't have any issues with any of the things that the other coaches had to say. And we know Todd Bowles is not an offensive-minded head coach. And they didn't really have any talent over there on the Jets. Josh McCown was your quarterback. Bilal Powell was your running back. And your best receiver was Robbie Chosen Anderson. He's chosen now. I don't know. I think he's changed his name twice. So I like the hire. I'm warming up to the hire. If you're saying that it is not an in-house hire, it kind of is, because he's been here before. And now we understand that he was part of how Jared Goff has become a better quarterback, a better leader, and all these things. He was part of the design of the offense, right? What did Dan say? He said there were some of the things that we were doing in 2022 that we kept in our offense. So now when we need to tweak things because Ben Johnson is gone and he stayed in the division and we're going to have to face his team twice a year, and he's going to know how we play offense and some of the schematics and all these things of our offense. Now we've got someone who was partially the architect. I'm not going to say he was 100% the architect, but he was part of it, right? He was part of the architecture. He was part of the foundation of this offense that we're currently running now. And I think that he can help to redesign whatever needs to be redesigned schematically. The verbiage is going to be the same as Dan Campbell has said, right? The concepts are going to be the same, but some of the scheme is probably going to change, and it's going to be able to change in a familiar and seamless type of way, I believe. So I'm really good with this hire. With Coach Shep, I've already said many times, I think Coach Shep deserved this. I think Coach Shep is going to be dynamic. He has the interpersonal skills. He has the leadership skills. He has the ability to do all the things that you need him to do as far as a leadership of men type of person. And then the X's and O's, super duper smart, right? Super duper smart. I think it was Adam Gase that said that, he's like the smartest football player that he's been around. And we know Adam Gase's track record as an offensive coordinator, not a good track record as a head coach. But we know, if you're telling me from an offensive person, I'm an offensive mind, right? The offensive minded people are supposed to be the brightest minds, right? If he's giving props to a defensive player / defensive coach about his intelligence on the football field, his intelligence, his understanding of the X's and O's, then what does that say about Coach Shep? Right? That is a ringing endorsement from, again, Adam Gase was a offensive coordinator who failed as a head coach, but he was a good offensive coordinator. He was very good, to the point where he became a head coach because of his ability to be an offensive coordinator. The same thing that happened with Ben Johnson. Nobody knows what Ben Johnson is going to do. Nobody knows what kind of head coach Ben Johnson is going to be. Nobody knows what kind of leader he is. Nobody knows what he's going to do when he's faced with adversity. Nobody knows what he's going to do if he has to deal with the type of injuries, on his side of the football that AG had to deal with on his side of the football this year. Nobody knows. But all we do know is that Ben Johnson's a damn good coordinator, and because he's that, he got a head coaching job. It's the same thing with AG, right? But to have that endorsement from someone who's a damn good offensive coordinator as a defender and as a defensive coach, I think it speaks volumes. So I think that ultimately we are in very good hands. Obviously, we have to see. We wait until, the first snap of the season. We have to wait to see what it comes and turns out to be, because obviously training camp is going to look a certain way, preseason is going to look a certain way. But when that ball gets snapped on the opening night of the season, or the opening afternoon, or the opening evening, whenever we play our first game, then we'll start to get a clearer picture of how these coordinators are going to affect the Detroit Lions, either positively or negatively. And obviously, we hope it's all positive. But anyway, that is my take. It has been Motor City Don P for the Motor City Cats and LNU signing out. Appreciate you all. Peace. All right, so let me go ahead and welcome everybody in the chat. If you guys don't know why I did the sign off, if you weren't here in the very beginning, I did say that I was pretty much cutting up a promo. I was asked to do that, and I said, I'll go ahead and do it in my first, when I start the podcast. All right, so let me go ahead and shout out everybody in the chat. What up, though? Jody Carithers. What up, though? Brent DeWitt. Okay, Brent DeWitt says Tanner tried to up his price. Let's see what we're gonna talk about. What up, though? Precision Staining. What up, though? Taylor Made Media. He says, I was told that Tanner Engstrom was the next OC. I was also told that Ben Johnson was going to be HC with the Commanders last season. Neither of these happened. Why? I don't know how many people really thought he was going to be the Commanders head coach. I know I never said that, but I did think that Tanner Engstrom was going to be the next OC. We're going to get into Tanner Engstrom in a little bit. I promise you. Happy Tuesday or Wednesday. It's Wednesday for me. I'm 16 hours ahead of you. What up, though? Tactical Sport. Brent DeWitt says, not worried a bit. It isn't working into the season. MCDC will remove him and call the plays himself, just like he did with Anthony Lynn. Offensive philosophy. Derek does what to? What did we do? You have to fill me in on that. I don't know which part you said that. Or what do you mean? Just cutting the promo? Was that what it was? All right. So let's get into the Tanner Engstrom stuff, because we have been talking about some things with Tanner Engstrom. And that was basically what I wanted to kind of focus on in this show. The movement of coaches, the plot thickens and all these things. So we've got a report here. This is from Detroit Lions on SI, John Macaroon. It says, report the Jets in heavy talks to hire Lions Tanner Engstrom. The Detroit Lions could end up losing their current passing game coordinator to the New York Jets. Just one day after former Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn spoke at his very first media session as Jets coach, multiple reports indicate Tanner Engstrom could be joining him as the team's next offensive coordinator. According to the NFL reporter Josina Anderson, who, her sources and reliability are, have been questionable. We'll see. Says also, I'm told pass game coordinator Tanner Engstrom's name is already involved in substantive discussions for the pending offensive coordinator role, per a league source. During Lions organized team activities last year, the 42-year-old discussed balancing being excited about potential coordinator opportunities in the future and remaining focused with the Lions. I did not know he was 42 years old. That's crazy. Hold on. Someone is like mowing the lawn. Let me turn that off. Or let me close the door, not turn it off. I wish I could turn it off. All right. So I didn't know he was 42, but he looks a little bit younger than that. So you're always gonna be present where you're at, and I couldn't be happier to be anywhere else than here right now. Engstrom explained to the reporters, but it was great. It was a good opportunity to go talk to some people and put under the fire. It really made me realize where your convictions are, you can't hide it when they start shooting things off at you. It's like you know where you're grounded and you know what you believe in. Engstrom commented further, the good thing is I believe in exactly what we're doing here. That was nice for me to do that. It was great. But that wouldn't have happened had we not had the team success we had here. It kind of sounds like he's trying to convince people that he wasn't really like, yeah, you know, look. I was gonna give an analogy. I don't want to give that analogy. I'm not comfortable with that analogy, but you know, he had a job. And he was looking to get a promotion. He didn't get the promotion. So now it's just kind of double speak when you're coming back and you're saying, well, you know, I didn't get the promotion or the job that I was looking for on the outside, but I didn't want to go to that company. I really wanted to be here. It sounds like there's some covering going on there. But Britt DeWitt said that Engstrom tried to up his price. So if you have some information, please let us know about this Engstrom thing. Now, here's the thing on Engstrom. Yeah, he's 42. Oh, cutting promos. Okay, yeah. Really don't care about Tanner Engstrom. My focus is on Morton's future performance. I feel you. But it's just obviously something that we're talking about because now it seems that he could be going to the Jets. Here's the question that I have about Tanner Engstrom. Tanner Engstrom was thought to be the heir apparent. He was thought to be being groomed to be the offensive coordinator once Ben Johnson left. There was a thought process that Ben Johnson, no matter where he went, would not be allowed to take Tanner Engstrom with him. Now it's looking like Ben Johnson didn't even try to take him. Dan Campbell didn't even try to promote him. We had a guy in Johnny Morton that we didn't know anything about until Adam Schefter said that, I mean, hell, he was on the team in 2022, right? So there was something that we didn't know anything about. Then he became a candidate to watch, and then the next day he's the offensive coordinator. What happened with Tanner Engstrom? This just goes back to what I said before. I said before that I heard someone quote their source, and I didn't want to take it as gospel. I didn't want to take it because it's not my source, it's their source. But I heard someone quote their source that said that Tanner Engstrom is probably ready from the X's and O's and understanding the offense and this, that, and the third thing, but they weren't quite comfortable with his personality. And I'm looking at the double talk and the double speech of, yeah, I went out to go and get a promotion or get a job somewhere else. But now I'm back here because it's like very, I don't want to say passive aggressive. It's just not assertive, right? It's not assertive. Like he ran around the quote trying to like step on eggshells or not step on the eggshell, not break anything and just tried to appease everybody. Yeah, I got offered a job. I went over, took the interview, because it's a higher position. It's a higher promotion. Of course, as a coach, you want to continue to climb the ladder. So I had the opportunity to go over there and do that. The situation wasn't right, wasn't what I wanted, so I came back here. That's all you had to say. That's all you had to say. So maybe the assertiveness is not there. Maybe the room commanding is not there. Maybe, as I said before, when you have adversity or whatever, and there's these dudes, the professional football players, are looking at you for guidance and reassurance in times of adversity or whatever the case may be, and your personality is not that of a leader of men, and you can't give them that guidance and you can't give them that reassurance, then you don't get the job. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if he actually does get the job in New York, because then it's going to be like, well, what did AG see that neither Dan Campbell nor Ben Johnson saw? Or is it just the familiarity? Like, AG is like, all right, I know you can do this, but you know, we're gonna put things in place to help you out. I don't know. It's interesting. But what up though, Jay Cruising? Why Australia? Because my wife's from here. So oh well, best wishes, bye Tanner. Tim is like, man, F Tanner, I don't give a damn about him. Sounds like Tanner stepped on somebody's paws. I like I said, Brent DeWitt came in and said something about upping his price. So I don't know. Maybe that was it. Maybe he oversold himself. You know, he thought his value was a little bit higher than what the Lions were willing to pay, or he thought maybe he was more involved in the success of the offense, and Dan might have been like, well, you know what? Nah, you ain't everything you think you are, but you can go ahead and check, you know, if the grass is greener on the other side, and we'll see you. Maybe my man AG wanted Tan to get on the. Oh God. Oh, that's the Aaron Rodgers aspect of it all is awful. It's just an awful thing. All right. So there's some other things that, again, the plot does thicken, and that was the title of the show. The plot thickens. That was the title of the thumbnail. So now what other things do we have in that plot? So we talked about coaches. Now we're going to talk about players. There are 4 free agents that Aaron Glenn could target from the Lions. I'm not going to read the article. I'm just going to have this discussion with you guys. So go ahead and lock in, right? If you're doing something else, if you just got me on listen, come back to the chat. We need to have this discussion about these players. All right. The first one on the list is Carlton Davis. I don't think anybody is saying, let's not bring Carlton Davis back. Let's let Carlton Davis go to the Jets. Here's the thing that I'm going to look at it in this way. Brad Holmes wants Carlton Davis back. He made that very clear in his end of the year press conference. Do you want Carlton Davis back? In the chat, let me know, yes or no. If it's no, tell me your reasons. I definitely want him back. I did a video, and I would have to check, but I think it was way back in November. Okay? Late November, early December. I did a video saying that the Lions must re-sign Carlton Davis now. Don't wait until the end of the season. Don't wait until the offseason. Re-sign him right goddamn now. I still believe that the Lions need to re-sign him. The only thing was his relationship with AG that he built over this course of this season. Was it enough for him to leave Detroit and go chase the Jets? Now, I'm pretty sure New York is a more expensive place to live in than Detroit. If it is just a couple $1 million off, let's say the Lions offer him $14 million and the Jets offer him $16 million. $2 million is a lot of money. What is the likelihood that you guys believe that Carlton Davis would rather stay in Detroit over going to the Jets? And then we have to realize and remember, the Jets are an awful franchise. I don't care how much you believe in a person. You have seen everybody else fail that goes over there, and everybody else gets fired that goes to the Jets. Carlton Davis, do you want to go to the Jets? Let me know in the chat what you guys think of this situation with Carlton Davis. Broski Bear, put your money where your mouth is, buddy. You put your money where your mouth is. I guess Broski Bear missed the part where we hired someone else and did not promote that coach. So therefore, that coach is free to go and talk to other teams. I guess what he believes is that someone is trying to leave the Lions because they would rather be somewhere else. No, you'd rather be somewhere else because the Lions said you're not getting that promotion you were looking for. It's natural. It's natural when there are people in an organization. Okay, and this is in corporate America or corporate Japan or corporate China. Probably not corporate China. I take that back. All right, but in corporate anything, right? If there are two people in line for a promotion, or if there were people in line for a promotion, and then you brought someone in from the outside and gave them the promotion that you thought that you were going to get, you are going to be mad, and you're probably going to leave. If you have the opportunity to leave, you will. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I saying something incorrect? All right, let's get back to Carlton Davis. All right. Yes, good take. Yes. Bring Davis back. Yes. But would he be starting with the Jets? I think he would start on the other side of Sauce. I mean, they've got two good young corners over there. But what's the other corner's name? What's his name? DJ something. I think Carlton Davis slides in and is the starter over there. The Jets play outside a lot. So did the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers also played outside. 41 million makes a big difference. Yes, 41 million makes a big difference. But are we talking about? I'm just throwing out 2 million. You know what I'm saying? I said 14 and 16. Broski Bear, just go back and listen to when I started talking about Tanner. Just go back. Just go back. Everything will be answered. Everything will be answered. You know what I mean? Everything will be answered. All right. So weather difference. Again, but that's the point. So do you think Carlton Davis stays in Detroit over going to New York? That's the question that I'm posing to you guys now. All right. So as you answer that, I'm going to get to the next person. Marcus Davenport. Goodbye. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Arrivederci. See you when we see you. Peace. I do not want Marcus Davenport back in any capacity. I said this when I was in the other place. And eventually I'm just going to stop talking about the other place. Because it doesn't matter to talk about it. But I'm just saying, I'm talking about my takes. If you just found me when I was over there, you did hear me say consistently, and I'm going to continue to be consistent, that I was a big believer in Marcus Davenport's ability, but I was a big disbeliever in Marcus Davenport's ability to stay healthy. I was a believer in his ability. I was a non-believer in his health. And it was proven, whether it was on purpose or not, whether it was a football move that turned into a wrestling move that turned into an MMA move wrapped inside of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I don't care what it was. Marcus Davenport played in 2 games for the Detroit Lions for the entire season. He played in the first game and got dinged in game number 1. He missed game number 2. He comes back for game number 3, and he gets injured for the rest of the season. Marcus Davenport cannot stay healthy, right? He cannot. So no, I don't want Marcus Davenport back. Now the only way I'm taking Marcus Davenport back is if you bring him back on an Emmanuel Mosley deal. If you sign him for $1 million for the entire season, right? And I wouldn't even be opposed to it being a $1 million deal with $7 million in incentives. If you can make it through the entire 17-week season and through the playoffs and into the Super Bowl, you can have $7 million. Because that means that you would have helped us get there. But since that's not going to happen, there's probably a 99.9% chance of that not happening. No, Marcus Davenport, see you. It was nice knowing you for the 3 games that we knew you, or the 2 games actually that we knew you. But no. Okay, this is a man that rarely practiced during training camp. Okay, like he was practicing, but what I should say is, like, he was getting rest days, and there was a lot of stuff going on to manage his health. And 3 games into the season, 2 games for him, we realized that it just wasn't gonna happen. Export Davenport time, sadly. Davenport can walk. Davin bust. Let Davenport go due to injury history. Exactly. Jets contract described as a mega deal for Davis. Well, if they're going to offer him a mega deal, then I guess he's going to take it. You know what I mean? I guess you're going to take it. If you're going to play around with the money, you know what I mean? And then I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to see Carlton Davis leave. I think Carlton Davis, man, was a great signing for Detroit. I think he fit right in. I think with the mentality, everything. So, but at the end of the day, you know, players play for. He's got rings. He's got a ring. So, you know, get your bag. You know, it'll be the last one that he gets. You know, he's 28, so he'll be 30 something by the time his deal ends. And then he might get another, you know, serviceable free agent contract. But if it's a mega deal now, I'm not going to hate on him for taking that. All right. Let's see. Who's the next one? Ifeatu Melifonwu. Love Iffy. Shout out my Nigerian brother. No. Obviously the money would matter a lot with Iffy. But at the same time, Iffy missed almost the entirety of the season, came back a couple weeks before the playoffs. Then in the playoff game, he couldn't finish it because he got somehow injured. All I know is they took him off the field. He was kind of gingerly holding his arms, and he didn't come back in the game. Iffy is a dynamic player, super duper talented, phenomenal athlete, has all the tools to be great in the league, has all the tools to be a starter, maybe even a star, but he just can't stay healthy. It's, you know, a similar situation with Marcus Davenport. You know, I was willing to obviously give Iffy some more grace because he was one of ours. We drafted him. We switched his position and taught him a new one. Like, we developed him. We put in time, but just no. So if he wants to go to the Jets, I hope you can find some whatever, some elixir, some something to help you stay healthy, because he's a phenomenal talent. He just ain't. He's just not healthy. If he can walk with Davenport, yeah. If he got injured in the playoffs, loss. If he is too iffy, facts. Au revoir, iffy Melifanu. It can be Holmes, one of bus lists. I mean, he doesn't have a big bus list. All right. Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes is the tough one. I think all of these have been easy. I think Carlton Davis was easy. I think Iffy and Marcus Davenport were easy, but Carlton Davis, but Derek Barnes, that's a tough one for me. I feel like Derek Barnes was a valuable piece to this defense, but what I was hearing earlier today was $6 million per year. I wouldn't say that Derek Barnes can't stay healthy. He doesn't really have an extensive injury history. He got injured due to a very unnecessary chop block. They didn't even get flagged for. You saw his growth. You saw his development while he was on this team. But and here's the other thing, right? Because he was injured, he gave way to people like Ezekiel Turner, Jamal Adams, Kwan Alexander. Because he was injured, we had to sign these people. Because we didn't have anybody that could play that Sam Backer role. Obviously, Malcolm Rodriguez went out as well. So we had to sign these people in desperation. Does Malcolm Rodriguez step up and play his role well and amicably? Yes. I think he fills in for Derek Barnes without an issue. But the depth behind him is super duper thin. So we have to make sure that if we do let go of Derek Barnes, we get somebody on a Kevin Zeitler type of deal. You know, a deal where it's below market value. I don't know if it's age or what that makes teams not want to give you the type of deal that you're worth. But something. We're going to have to find a creative way, because we do have a lot of people that we need to extend soon. But, extensions generally create more cap space. So some creative cap spacing, and you can let Derek Barnes walk. I just love to have him there for depth purposes. But you don't want to sign a linebacker for $6 million a year just to have him as depth. So I guess the answer would be that Derek Barnes is free to go to the Jets. What do you guys think? Derek Barnes wasn't a primary special teams player. Germ is his primary special teams player. Derek Barnes played the Sam role. We didn't have anybody else playing it. They tried to experiment with James Houston, which, I'm upset that didn't work out. The problem is no longer our problem. Atlantic Health is a big time Jet sponsor. Maybe they can keep Iffy healthy. Wow. Um, we can't get rid of everyone that knows the team's culture, especially the rookies and playmakers. Um, so that's facts, man. We can look at, hold on. I had a list here. We can look at the list of players who are free agents because we've got a lot of players who are free agents. What's going on there? Okay, I don't know. I feel like my computer may freeze. Just bear with me now because this didn't go. All right. Okay, let's see. All right. So there is a list of free agents. Obviously, like Levi Onwuzurike, if he's on that list and AG wants to target him, you know, I'm glad you came back from your back injury. I'm glad you did all that. But nah. All right, let's see here. On this list, we have Kevin Zeitler, Levi Onwuzurike, Iffy, Derek Barnes, OT Dan Skipper, DL O'Connor, LB Ben Neiman, RB Craig Reynolds, CB Kendall Vildor, interior offensive lineman Coyote Iwasika, Khalil Dorsey, Trevor Nowalski. And then others that should be back. It says Miles Adams, Anthony Pittman, Jonah Williams, OT Connor Galvin. I don't know what's the status of his development. Obviously, he wasn't a player. Shane Zylstra, Kyle Pecco, Mitchell Agood. All right, so here's the thing. Like, we have to have a new standard. And I don't know if this is fair, but I'm gonna say it. Zach Bond of the Philadelphia Eagles. Everybody knows Zach Bond, right? Taylor May says, like Anzalone came to the Lions from the Saints, AG probably wants a kid like Barnes to suit up for the Jets. That makes sense. All right. We have to have a new standard for the Detroit Lions. And I'm, like I said, I don't know if this is fair, but Zach Bond was a special teams player for the New Orleans Saints. And he was signed by the Philadelphia Eagles and became an all-pro starting linebacker in his first year with the team. He was a special teams player and then became an all-pro starting linebacker. The people that we have on our practice squad that are forever on our practice squad, I get the development process that we have. But do we believe that Mitchell Agood is ever going to be anything other than a practice squad player? Like, he did good things in the preseason. But when he gets into the games in the regular season, because we had all those injuries, there were no splash plays. There were no things that made you believe that he was going to come in and be an all-pro. And I know that's not fair, right? Zach Bond is the exception. He's not the rule. But I don't know. Like just having, we have a lot of cute stories on the Lions. Like Tom Kennedy. Tom Kennedy actually did something this year. He came in when Khalif got injured, and he was the kick returner. Cool. But you know what I mean? Like all these stories that emerge in training camp, and we just want to keep the guys. Right? In this list, this is a list, and it says these are the people that we should keep. Right? Notice that Iffy and Barnes were on that list. Like I said, I love Iffy, but Iffy can't stay healthy. So if we're tying up money in a person that can't stay healthy, and it sounds bad, it sounds difficult, because it is difficult, right? If you start looking, and that's what I don't ever want to do. I don't ever want to look at people as numbers. But in a salary capped league, that's kind of how you have to look at people at times. I love Iffy. I love his ability. I love his productivity, but he misses too many games. The man was on 2 IR windows. Let that sink in. This season, he was on 2 back-to-back 4-week IR windows. Towards the back end of the season, that was 8 more weeks. Did you miss? Now, the second IR, the second designation for return was instant, pretty much. The same week that he got activated was the same week that he played. But in order to open that 21-day window, you still had to be on IR for 4 weeks. He was on IR for the ankle, the Achilles injury. Then he comes back after he was about to be activated. They activated him again and took him right off activation and put him right back on IR because he broke his thumb while he was trying to come back from the Achilles injury. So I love Iffy and what he brings and the multiple, the Swiss Army knife that he is. But if you got a Swiss Army knife that can't stay healthy, then you can't use it. If your Swiss Army knife is rusty, right, is like sealed shut and it won't deploy when you need to use it most, you have to get a new Swiss Army knife. Sounds bad. I know. It sucks. I know. Yeah, we got 15 wins is wild. I mean, it's a good team. But this defense, again, this is why I asked the question yesterday. Do you think that the defense as currently constructed with everyone on IR, remember we lost Amik. So now you got Terrion Arnold and Kendall Vildor trying to cover A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Which one of them is covering Devontae Smith? Which one of them is covering A.J. Brown? Do you think Kendall Vildor on A.J. Brown was a matchup you wanted to see? No. Right? Not at all. Terrion Arnold and Devontae Smith are Alabama boys, so maybe, something competitive, but I don't know. Zach Bond is a total star, helped Eagles tremendously. Exactly. Keep DB, keep Demetrius Curry says keep Derek Barnes. I would like to keep him. I would like to keep Derek Barnes. I would love to keep Iffy, but Iffy just is Iffy. I'm good with Barnes walking. I feel like we can get a cheaper upgrade in the draft. Do you trust Brad Holmes to draft, not an upgrade, not to draft talented players? Because he does that all the time. But he's already told you that filling holes is what free agency is for. The draft is for acquiring talent. So it has to be a situation in which the talented person is also in a position that you need. Right? I like to think that what's going to happen with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell is they're going to go into the draft and the free agency process, and they're going to look at each other and they're going to say defense. Right? That's what they're going to do. But what happens if you look at each other and you say defense, and then somebody falls in your lap, and that person that falls in your lap is a generational wide receiver talent? What are you going to do? Are you going to take the defensive player who's, he's okay? Or are you going to take that generational wide receiver talent when you really don't need him, but you really, really need defense? I don't know. It's a situation that, we'll have to find out when the draft comes. If his name killed him, in my opinion. Slow Town Trev says nope. Tactical Spork says we need Levi to come back. Do we? For what? Remember what Kevin Zeitler said. Kevin Zeitler said that with Aleem McNeil and Levi Onwuzurike, we would have two $20 million defensive tackles. If Levi Onwuzurike's market is that, does his production, not to sound like Mike Florio here, but does his production warrant his money? Do you feel comfortable paying Levi Onwuzurike anything more than the veterans minimum? I'm not even going to say $20 million because I'm pretty sure I don't. I'm just saying, do you feel comfortable paying him that much? What do you feel comfortable paying Levi for him to come back and to retain his services? Yes. Slow Town. Yes. I want to keep CD3. Yep, defense, then offense gets all injured part. If you wanna draft a couple injured offensive players in the 6th and the 7th round, I'm not mad at you. I'm not. As long as rounds 1 through 5 are for defense, I don't care. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but we need more athletic linebackers. I get you, but where are we getting them from? Are we signing Khalil Mack? Probably not. Right? And he's just a pass rusher. I mean, there's some things that may even have to happen with Zadarius Smith's contract for him to stay in Detroit. Yes, McNeil's going to be what about Rakestraw? We don't know. Rakestraw is an unknown. He's a known unknown. We know we don't know about him. And he couldn't stay healthy. This is the thing that I was talking about with him when we were going into the draft, or when we were doing our draft coverage last offseason, was he's got a lot of soft tissue injuries. And I wasn't comfortable with that. Remember, he missed the draft process because after the season, he had to get core muscle surgery. Right? And then what happened this season? It was always a soft tissue injury. It was a sprained ankle, or it was a hamstring, a pulled hamstring, or whatever the case may be. Like, it's always these soft tissue injuries. So I don't know what Rakestraw is going to be or what he can do. Everyone thought that, okay, he's got a chip on his shoulder because he felt like he shouldn't have been drafted where he was drafted, but you didn't play. You didn't play. I wanted to see you play, but stayed injured. Oh, Slow Town. Appreciate you with the $10 super chat. All right, that brings our total to What is it? 7? No, wait. It's 8 now. All right. It's 8 now. So we need 12 more. Again, it ain't got to be today, and we got time. We need 12 more. We're going to do a live mock draft on air. I'm thinking of a guest that will hopefully be available. I'm pretty sure he'll be available. But yeah, I'm thinking of bringing somebody on to do the live mock draft with. Also, during this offseason, I want to get you guys involved in the mock draft process. So I got some interesting things planned, but it'll be heavy chat participation. So whatever you're doing, you're going to have to clear your schedule for 2 hours and really participate in these mock drafts. So I also have you guys do some mock drafts of your own, submit them. We'll go over them. We'll ask everyone else to grade them and talk about, you know what I mean? So I really want to pull everybody in during this off season, and do it much bigger than I've ever done it with the draft season. Cause I usually don't get too flustered with the draft season, but I'm going to try to get further into it this year. It's difficult with these sports outcomes, yes. Alabama, that's where Jihad Campbell is. I've heard some good things about Jihad Campbell. So, yeah, we'll see. You hear how Zadarius Smith had a jeweler make him a Super Bowl ring this year, and he just posted it on IG. Oh, that was a Super Bowl ring. Okay. I thought it was like a divisional champ ring or something like that. But, yeah, I heard about the ring. Who could we put opposite of Hutch? Are we talking about draft prospects or anybody? Because I'm tired of hearing about Max Crosby, bro. Like this obsession that we have. I understand we want Max Crosby, but I'm tired of the articles and things. Just let it play out. Just let it play out. I'm pretty sure Pete Carroll wants to keep Max Crosby. So now he doesn't have any guaranteed money on his contract. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to try to rework the contract. Now, if they can't rework the contract, bring Max Crosby home. But if they do rework the contract, he's staying in Las Vegas. Right? I would definitely like to see Khalil Mack across from Hutch. I'm interested in keeping Big Z. And I have not dived into the prospects of the draft yet. I'm going to start doing that soon. Again, guys in the Discord, please be sending me people. Let me check the Discord right now. Please send me players that y'all think that I should be focusing on, spotlighting, all that stuff. I don't think we get Max, just being real. Yeah. Cruising draft one. Yeah, I would love to draft one. I would love to draft one. But you know what I did last year? Yep, I heard Mike Green too. So those are two people I've heard of. So let me make a note. So Mike Green, Marshall, and Jihad Campbell, Alabama. So I just put those as messages in the Discord, so I definitely will be checking those people out. Pascal Davenport, Levi, Muhammad Wingo will be playing next year to our Hutch next year. I hope not. Because that's exactly what we had going down the stretch, just without Hutch. Right? All right, Barrett Carter. Where does Barrett Carter play? What school did he play at? Because that rotation of players next to Hutch We're in the same situation that we were in this year. That's it. We just got Hutch back. Clemson. All right. I'm gonna have to dive into these players. Pause. It is draft homework time. I have to do my draft homework. Yeah, that I definitely want to be able to give you guys that. Like I've always slacked on the draft. I've never again, if you guys don't know this, I've never done a mock draft. Not in my spare time, not in my online time. I've never done one. Just never wanted to do one. But that's why I said that's why we got the super chat goal in place of 20 super chats over the course of whatever, right? It's not over the course of today or the show, but yeah. So I'm gonna do one. My first mock draft I do is gonna be live on air, and it's gonna be for the people here because these are the people that supported me and are helping me, grow my channel. Derek Harmon, Oregon. All right. Is it me or does 97 won the ticket talk way too much trash during the playoffs when opposing teams are in town? One of the main X factors on why the Commanders beat the Lions. I don't know that. Look, the main X factors was 5 turnovers. That was the main X factor. There's always a first chef look at all those podcasters they're driving or they're diving. They're diving into it. They're diving it. JSJ, I missed yours. Hold on. Say, do you think Aidan is going to come back dominant or a shell of himself? Dominant. My son's name is Aidan. So I didn't name my son after Aidan Hutchinson. I had no idea who Aidan Hutchinson was. Aidan Hutchinson was, I think, how old is Aidan? Is he 24? So he was 11 years old when my son was born. So it wasn't that. Mega Hustle, we supposed to talk trash. As fans, we're supposed to talk trash. It's just as is what you do. You talk about your team. Diving through the books. Yeah. Well, Dolo Dynamite has given me a good start of players that I have to look into. So there's a lot of film I'm going to have to look at. And then, I'll tell you what I think about these prospects. I think remember when I said that I think Shep is going to put his own twist on this defense. Maybe Shep likes some speed off the edge. Right? Because if you think about it this way, Shep sees the game. Obviously, he knows the game from all of the defensive vantage points. But his vantage point is from a linebacker's vantage point. AG's vantage point was from a cornerback's vantage point. So there may be a slight difference in the philosophy. Now, the thing that you could say, which is the same, is that they were both back 7 players. Right? So does Shep want that big body Marcus Davenport type of defensive end to go and rush the not really rush the passer, but to kind of stop the run and clog it up and make it easy for everybody else? As a linebacker, you would probably say yes. But also, if you've got that speed rusher on the outside and then you send a linebacker on a blitz, quarterback's choosing. Or not the quarterback, the running back is choosing, or whoever's doing the blitz pickup is choosing. Which one of these guys do I get? And either one of them gets home or both of them gets home. So that's the thing. So we don't really know. Are they going to look for the same type of guys? But then Brad Holmes kind of splashed water on that whole scheme fit person or scheme fit player, as he said that when we evaluate guys, we don't evaluate them as a whatever kind of linebacker you want to call them, whether you want to call it the Mike or the Mac, whether you want to call it the Sam or the Sydney, whatever, like whatever scheme calls the linebackers, whatever they call them. When we look at a linebacker for the Detroit Lions, he's a linebacker for the Detroit Lions. He's going to fit our play style. Is their play style big, powerful, run stoppers at the defensive end? No, because while Hutch is big and strong, he's also fast, quick, and agile. He does ballet, for God's sakes. Bundele Save. You know what I'm saying? The reason that he did that commercial is because he's actually taking ballet classes. Seriously. So, when he was doing that, the pirouette or whatever, and all that in the commercial, that wasn't his first time doing that. He didn't learn that for the commercial. He already knew how to do those things. So it really just depends. Yeah, it was Bundele Save. I know it said bundle and save. Less dancey, less talky, more dancey. Jake from State Farm, doesn't that just say bundle and save? Bundele Save. Walter Nolan, Ole Miss. All right. Walter Nolan. New offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators means you start starters to see what will flow or don't flow. I mean, it's again what we expect. Just like if you guys want to know what it's supposed to look like, you just look at the Patriots when Tom Brady was there. It's gonna be a system. So no matter who the coordinators are, you're going to play the Patriot way. No matter who the coordinators are now, you're going to play the Lions way. That's just the way that they're setting it up. Bundle Ruski. Bundle Ruski. Bundle Ruski do. Can we really trust Goff in the playoffs? See, Mega Hustle 313. That's what I was trying to say yesterday. Hold on. Is sick argument here? What about independent Aquaman? No? Okay. Am I free to speak? Okay. The narrative in Detroit, okay? Because we're putting away everything that happened before Detroit, because when he got to Detroit, he became a better quarterback. He evolved. We talked about this a little bit earlier. So in his 2 stints in Detroit, the first year we exited the playoffs because of other players, not because of Jared Goff. This year we exited the playoffs because Jared Goff turned the ball over 4 times. Right? I can say that. So now we have a 2-year sample of Jared Goff in the playoffs here in Detroit as in his current form. It's like Dragon Ball Z, right? So in his final form, okay, right? In his final form, is he a playoff choker? I can't say that he is, because I've seen one where he didn't and one where he did. I've seen one where he played well in the playoffs and one run where he didn't play well. So can we trust him? It's 50-50. You have to wait until next year. You know? Now, if you wait until next year, you got a 2 out of 3 type of situation. 2 out of 3, he plays well. 2 out of 3, he plays poorly. Then you can kind of formulate more of an opinion. But I can't say 100% for sure in certainty. What do I think is going on with Hooker? I think he's just a young backup quarterback right now. You know, it's better. Look, everybody that wants to see Hooker play and all these things, just remember these 2 names. I just want you to do this. Actually, 3 names. I want you to remember these 3 names. Okay? I don't like speaking these names, but I'm going to. Nate Sudfeld, David Blau, and what's the other guy's name? I can't even remember his name. Tim Boyle. Okay? Nate Sudfeld, David Blau, and Tim Boyle. Just remember those names. So I don't believe that it's just Hendon Hooker. He's got to play. He's got to show. No. I know that they have faith and confidence in See, y'all got me cussing on the show now. I believe they have faith and confidence in Hendon Hooker. But the playoff thing was just the playoffs. You don't want to throw a rookie in there during the playoffs. Teddy Bridgewater has been there before, right? Random vent. A limb gets paid, breaks Aidan's leg, then his own. I mean, he didn't break his leg. He's a torn ACL, but I get you. Hopefully, 3rd time's the charm with Goff in the playoffs. Hopefully. You know, and I hope so, because if it doesn't, if it's not, everyone's gonna lose their minds. Is someone trying to get inside my? No one was trying to get in. They did get in. Yeah, I mean, but listen, all of these improvements that we need and that we think that we need, we just need to make sure that our defense is healthy. You know, we just need to make sure that our defense is healthy. And hopefully, what I want to see come from Shep is to be able to say, dang, that Detroit defense is dominant. And obviously, in order to say that, we do need a couple more pieces. And I think those pieces are necessary on the defensive line. I don't think, and really it could just be one piece. I don't know that there's a Jared Verse in this draft, but imagine Jared Verse, Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, and Hutch. Imagine a line that looked like that. Right? And then, I mean, I think everybody is comfortable with saying if you got Jared Verse and you didn't get Terrion Arnold, you wouldn't be too upset. Right? So there's that. I mean, the Verse trade, though, was higher up than the Terrion trade. So I don't know. I don't know what, because did the Rams trade up? Yeah, the Rams traded up to 19 to get him. I think they were at 24. So we were at what, 28, 29? So we would have had to trade up to get it. And I don't know what kind of package um, the Rams offer, and there was rumors. There were rumors, and these are rumors. I can't confirm or deny. There were rumors that Brad Holmes was trying to trade up above where the Rams got Jared Verse to draft Terrion Arnold. There were rumors. I'm glad it didn't happen. Because if it happened, and then you got Quinyon Mitchell with 2 playoff interceptions, didn't have one in the regular season, but 2 in the playoffs, and then you got Jared Verse doing what he did, and you're having Terrion Arnold looking like a rookie corner. Not gonna lie, I mean, he's not a bust. He was a rookie corner. I think coverage was good. Just got to get your head around. And when you get your head around, you'll be more confident and you won't grab as much. But coverage was sticky. You know, that's all we can hope for. Don't SMH. I can't, like I said, they were rumors. I can't confirm or deny. I can't say this with any certainty. So don't put that on Brad. It was just a rumor. Okay, until the rumor comes out and they say, "Yep, no, this is true. It wasn't just a rumor." You know, we could have got Fisk. That's for sure. I don't know. I think Fisk did as well as he did because he was with Jared Verse. And as a rookie, did you okay, we've played our college football together. We were teammates for 2 years. We're familiar with each other. So I think that was helpful for them. They were in a very familiar situation, even though it's the NFL and it's a different thing. My roommate in college is my roommate in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like when they went to camp, they were probably roommates. You feel me? So they were able to, they already had that commonality, so that helped them to be a little bit more comfortable. I think Jared Verse is a dog, and he was going to be a dog. I think Fisk was a dog, and he was going to be a dog. I think Fisk looks better because he's along with Jared Verse as well. You better try and trust him. Oh, I trust Brad Holmes. I trust him, but I just need him to. I just need him to draft an edge rusher. That's all. Now, if you go in free agency and you sign Khalil Mack, do you still need to draft an edge rusher? Yes, because Khalil Mack is old, but he still got it. I wanted Khalil Mack at the trade deadline, but he's stayed in. No, actually, I wanted Khalil Mack before. I wanted him last season when I thought that he was, or last offseason when I thought he was going to be a cap casualty, but he redid his deal to stay in LA. But now that he's a free agent, please sign him. Please come home. I got beans and bologna. Yeah. I have that on my soundboard actually. I just don't know if they're gonna copyright strike me, so I haven't done it yet. Jared Verse should call the multiverse Deadpool. Olsen is butthurt. He got demoted from calling the Super Bowl in favor of Brady and Burkhardt. I'm glad he's butthurt because I don't like him. That Jalen Carter miss still hurts me, LOL. I mean, that's a catch-22. The Jalen Carter thing is a catch-22. Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the main reasons that our running game is as explosive as it is. It's not Monty. We love Monty, but who had the explosive numbers? It was Jahmyr. Jahmyr was the one averaging 5.6 yards per carry. Jahmyr was the one that averaged 7.7 yards per carry in the game against the Commanders, and at some point in the first half, he was averaging 10 yards a carry. That's Jahmyr Gibbs. So you have your offense got carried with Jahmyr Gibbs, right? And the offense was healthy. Does Jalen Carter, just Jalen Carter, right? So let's say we had the same injury issues. We don't have DJ Reader because we have Jalen Carter and Ali McNeil. Does Jalen Carter help you win anything this season? And I'm telling you, remember, the criteria are we have the same injury luck or the spate of injuries this season. So the only starter that would be healthy in the game against the Commanders is Jalen Carter. You don't have Jahmyr Gibbs. So I don't know what your offense looks like as far as from the running situation. Monty, whether you want to say if it was his MCL or not, he wasn't effective in that game. And the few carries that he had, he wasn't effective. Jahmyr Gibbs was carving Washington up. When you put them in that situation, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. If Goff blows it next time, he got to go. I can't say that because I'm not allowed. If I said that, I'd be a casual. If Eagles win the Super Bowl, then yes, on Carter. But see, Carter's in a different situation with the Eagles than he would have been with the Lions. That's what I'm saying. If you're talking about this season, if you remove DJ Reader from that defensive line and you put Jalen Carter there, and it's Jalen Carter, Muhammad, and Zadarius Smith, or it's Jalen Carter, Zadarius, and Pascal. Right? Jalen Carter is also playing next to another mammoth man who's 6'8", 500 pounds, and freaking Jordan Davis. So, I mean, I don't know. I can't say definitively that Jalen Carter would have been winning that game for you if he was on the same exact defensive line as this one. Just replace him for DJ Reader. We would not have Swift. We would have drafted somebody else. We would not have Swift. We would have drafted a fifth round or a sixth round running back, somebody. But Swift would not be it. Swift didn't have that dog in him at all when he was in Detroit. There was no dog in Swift. Not at all. Hope it's not a Super Bowl three-peat. I mean, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. I don't know, dude. I mean, is there nothing that says I was alive when history was made? Like, I got to witness history. I got to see something that no one else ever saw before. I don't know. I don't hate Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And it's not particularly close. You know? I don't hate him for that. You know? I hate that he's not on the Lions. Right? If Patrick Mahomes was our quarterback, wouldn't you love it? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know anybody that would be upset if we had Patrick Mahomes. Vegas are more of a joke than me. But like I said, I mean, I have a friend who's an Eagles fan, and you know, with your friends that are fans of other teams, I mean, they're your friends, but you don't want them to be able to gloat because, even friends gloat, you know? So, so for that reason, I don't have, I do have a friend but he's a former Chief player. So you know what I'm saying? He played in the NFL. He's not going to be gloating when the Chiefs win, if the Chiefs win. Whenever the Chiefs have won their Super Bowls, I've congratulated him and been gracious, and he's never gloated at all. So it's different when a person is a former player and when a person is a fan of the team, I guess. Costco's $1.50 hot dog combo will now offer Coca-Cola instead of Pepsi. Why? I guess they switched sponsors. Side note, we should look into Hines Ward for a wide receiver coach. He's in Arizona State. I mean, he definitely fits. He definitely fits the grit. Kansas City cheats, LOL. I mean, I just wish the NFL was a little bit sneakier, just for it being blatant. There's some questionable things. I gotta go back and rewatch that Bills game. I realized as people were talking about it, I think I was asleep for a lot of that game. I don't think it was just the last 5 minutes like I thought. It's like Josh Allen had 3 fumbles, and I was like, dang, I only saw one of them. I didn't, but they recovered. That was the one where he went over the pile, and they got the 4th down. But I didn't see the other 2, so I don't know when they happened. Patrick Mahomes looking Tonto like a mug. Broski Bear, if you're wondering why I read that one, is because you weren't trolling, so I just read it. If you're doing your trolling and your bear stuff, I ain't reading it. Josh definitely got those first downs. I thought he did get the second one. But then at the same time, I couldn't see the ball, so I don't know. It was a question of whether it was his head that crossed the line, but something crossed for sure. Yeah, they stacked him up and pushed him back afterwards, but I thought initially that he got it. Out of the three fumbles that Josh Allen had, did they recover any of them? Because like I said, I must have been asleep. I must have been asleep. So I'm going to, one of the things that I'm planning to do during this mock draft season is I'm planning on having the chat do like mock drafts for maybe all of the divisions. I have to see how this works out, but I would have to have people on, just like how when I have Easy on, I give him the link, he comes on. So I would probably have like maybe 4 different stages. And so I would have to have as many participants as I would have. Obviously, we're all Lions fans here, and however you like, if you were representing another team, if you want to draft all terrible players, I don't know, if y'all want to work in conjunction, whatever, but just something fun and interactive for the people in the chat. So I'm planning on doing something like that. I would just have to see who's interested in coming in. We can organize that, arrange that in the Discord for sure. But yeah, just have a few people come on. We'll do the mock draft. It can be, I don't know, however long. Like if it's 2 hours, however many rounds we get to. If we get through 4 rounds, great. If we get through 7, that's great. And just see. Vatos Locos forever. When did he become Mexican? Hey, Jay Cruising, it's just fun. And y'all don't have to show faces or anything. I know some people are weird about being on camera, so y'all can just come on, and whoever wants to be on camera can be on. Whoever just wants to have you can turn the camera off. Or we could do it in a way, again. So like I said, I'm not a mock drafter. So I think there's a site that you can go to, and because I've seen someone do this with creators. Actually, someone contacted me last offseason. It was a Miami Dolphins creator, and he was looking for a creator from each team. And like he sent me a DM, and I didn't see it until like the next day. so I missed my chance to do that. But it's probably better that I didn't see it, that I didn't do it representing another network that I'm no longer affiliated with. And I'm just, now if he reached out to me and said he wanted to do it this offseason, then I would be ready. But I think there's a site, like I've seen that before. So maybe even just like 32 chat members, and I don't know, we'd have to decide who wants to be the Lions. I don't know. Yeah, so we would have to figure out who gets to be the Lions, and then after that, or maybe we just do it randomly, like random spins. Like put your name in, we'll spin. Jay Cruisin comes up to be the Bucks, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. And then we can have the draft with 32 members of the chat, and they can just do it. And I would just be the commissioner. I would be Roger Goodell. So if y'all are interested in, like, it's the off season, right? The off season, it gets boring. It gets, everybody talks about the same topics and everything. So, yeah, anyway. Yeah, just something to make sure that, the people are engaged and doing something different. That's right, Sanowski. With the first pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans choose Charlie Sanders. Wouldn't that they're not. I mean, you got to be ready to move off of whatchamacallit. I think they got a new GM, right? So they're probably ready to move off of Will Levis. And I don't even know if you want him to be the backup. I think it's kind of it would be a Kenny Pickett type of move. Are you glad Washington got blown out, or are you more upset now because we lost to that team? Speaking of 500 pounds, all right, weird flex, but okay. Did you hear about 554 pounds Detroit rapper suing Lyft for passing her up Because driver of Mercedes Benz, she ordered passer up for a ride to Detroit versus the Commanders game. Why? Why would you sue them? Like, I don't understand that. You know, the drivers don't have to pick you up. Maybe she looked, you know, maybe she looked suspect. I don't know. You're glad, okay? It's arguable that Mahomes is the best QB. It's easy to be number one when the refs go your way all the time. I don't want to diminish his talent. It's unfortunate that the refs do that, but I mean, when he was coming in and playing against Brady and all that stuff, he wasn't beating Brady, but you could see the talent. You could see it. From what I watched, I don't think we beat the Eagles. Yeah, I think the run game and our depleted defensive line would have been too much. You know, the only thing that we could have been, the only thing we could have been leaning on was the home field advantage, which I did say. I did say before, earlier in the season, did we really need the bye? Because the only place that we lost this year was in Detroit. So we just snapped a streak of 6 games of the playoffs hosted in Detroit, 6-0. We're now 6-1 for the 7 games. Jalen Hurts says Nick Sirianni keeps him in a straitjacket. What does that mean? He keeps him grounded. He keeps him sane. Or he thinks that he ties him down and doesn't let him blossom. Because whatever he's doing, it's working. What is this? The second Super Bowl he's been to in 3-4 years. The bye was never gonna help us. It was gonna help, rest some players for a week and give us 2 games to play to get to the Super Bowl instead of 3. But it wasn't gonna give us back any players. Monty came back and he was ineffective. Like I said, I don't know if it was his knee or it just, the type of runs, he didn't have the holes or whatever. He just wasn't effective. I use StreamYard when I have guests. When I am just doing my solo thing is OBS. So that's why you see whenever I have a guest, it'll say powered by StreamYard because I'm not paying. I'm not paying what they're asking for a month just to use it once a week or whatever. So. But the only thing the thing that I hope that they do, because, there's questions about Goff and can he get it done in the playoffs. And I just, I want him to get like a mentalist coach because I think the only hurdle that Goff has to get over is the punches and bunches. It's just a phenomenon when he turns the ball over. And I said this before. I heard Braylon say this earlier today. When Goff turns, like when he throws one, you better believe another one's coming. And I just don't understand it. I was saying that before. It's like very, very rarely is it just one interception or one turnover. Um, we saw it in the Packers game last season, in both of the Bears games last season. Um, we saw it in the Texans game this season. We saw it in the Commanders game this season. We saw it in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game this season. Now, that second interception was a blatant pass interference, so it shouldn't have counted as an interception. But they gave the ball to the Bucs for some reason. So that's just the one thing I think in his evolution. That's all he has left, because that's the only thing that hurts us. That's it. If you turn the ball over one time in that Washington game, you win going away. If you turn the ball over 2 times in that Washington game, you win, but it's very close. And if you turn the ball over 3 times in that Washington game, it's a toss-up. But 4 times and then 5 times, which obviously the 5th turnover wasn't, or not the 5th, the 4th turnover wasn't on Goff. He had nothing to do with it. That was JMO. But so we get up to 3 turnovers in that game, and you can still say that there was a realistic opportunity to win the football game. 1 and 2 turnovers, I think, like I said, 1 is comfortable, 2 it's tight, 3 is a toss up. But after that, okay, said, so TM has volunteered to represent the Eagles. Oh, okay. Yeah, I said I was being facetious. No, he doesn't weigh 500 pounds. Jordan Davis of the Eagles is definitely pushing 350, if not at 350 or more. But yeah, 6'8", 350, something like that. Uh, I'm just saying, like, that helps that Jalen Carter is a dog, and it also helps that he plays next to Jordan Davis, who is a behemoth of a man. He's massive. So we'll see leading up to closer to whenever we're gonna do that mock draft thing. Um, we'll get into the mock draft season. I think we should start doing the mock drafts probably after the first week of free agency. Because then it'll be like after the first week of free agency, we know the Lions will still be active. They probably won't be very active the first day or whatever. Like, they're not usually that active. But after the first week of free agency, I think it will just squarely turn to the draft, and we can be doing player profiles and all these things. So yeah, I think that would be a good time. So again, we already have one volunteer of representing the Eagles, or a Charger, or if we don't have a lot of people that want to come on live and participate, maybe we'll have like one person take one division, another person, you know what I mean? So they'll be responsible for the divisions. In Michigan, we have a law against various forms of discrimination. Um, but what can you say is the discrimination? You can say because this person felt that the discrimination was because they were huge, right? But again, there could have been something else. Lamar doesn't have better stats. Career stats? He has more rushing yards, for sure. I love Lamar, but I'm not going to say until Lamar can consistently beat Patrick Mahomes, I'm not going to take Lamar over Patrick Mahomes. But if you asked me who I wanted to start a franchise with, and you said I can't pick Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to pick Lamar easily. That's just me personally. A lot of people think that he should be a receiver or a running back. You know, I don't. And also, like that's why I was saying with Lamar, he has a narrative. It's called Playoff Lamar. And he has to, and like I think in every game he's turned the ball over twice. In every playoff game that he's played in. This entire season, he turned the ball over 4 times. And in the playoffs, in the one game that they played, or did they play 2? They played 2 games. I don't think did he turn the ball over against the Texans? Did they play the Texans? They didn't play the Texans. They played the Steelers. Okay, that was expected. The Steelers can't play offense. They're not good at it. Right? So no one expected the Steelers to win. I don't think he felt any pressure. Because we're talking about the divisional round and higher. Right, the divisional round and the championship round. Each time that he's been to those rounds, I think he turns the ball over at least twice a game. He doesn't lose in the wild card. That's not what his reputation is. It's the divisional and the championship. Goff needs a sports psychologist. Indeed, he does. I can see you're a bit behind, TM. Bryce Young? How are we going to get... That's the thing. Like, we can't bring in Bryce Young. We're not... So, if Bryce Young continues to improve, right? He's your cornerstone. He's your franchise cornerstone. He's your piece that you're building the franchise around. So, why would the Panthers trade him for Goff? And also, yes, as Denzel Van says, he's still on a rookie contract. So that's another reason. Like, Goff, his cap hit about to get crazy. Now, they're going to redo his contract. They're not going to leave it the way it is. But no. Realistically, what is the path to getting a quarterback? The way that we got Goff was very unconventional. Right? Because you had a head coach that didn't want him and was just, for whatever reason, there was hype around Sean McVay to win because he was this young, hot offensive coordinator. And you know what I mean? I don't know. Because he had gotten to the Super Bowl probably with Goff. So there was pressure on him to win, and he wasn't willing to develop Goff. So that's how we got Goff. Other than that, You get a quarterback the way everyone else does. You suck and you draft one. I don't think anybody in Detroit would like to be seeing their team in a position of getting the number 1 pick ever again. Ever. Bro, realistically, when you think we're winning it? Had the defense been healthy this year, I think we could have won it. So now, if we're saying, because now we don't know what the team is going to look like because the coordinators are going and all these things, but if things are going to go the same way with the system in place, and it doesn't matter what your coordinators do, with a healthy defense, we could win it next year. Realistically. Remember when the defense was healthy, It was top five, top five, top five, top five. Dylon, 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 and Dylon. Because I spit hot fire. Okay? So realistically, very realistically, and this is not me being a slappy or a homer, if the defense is healthy and the offense doesn't take any major steps back, we could win it next year. And the Panthers will pick up his 5th year. Yeah, I mean, he's been playing better. Draft Jalen Milroe, you won't have the chance. Now, if he does a Lamar style tumble, right? But then if you're Brad Holmes and you pull that trigger, you can't stash him. You can't stash him because everybody's going to be looking for you to play him. As soon as Goff throws an interception, as soon as Goff fumbles, they're going to be like, put Milroe in. Will Kelvin Shepard be an upgrade over AG? What's an upgrade over AG? That's what I'm saying. Like that, and that's why I said we got to be objective and understand AG didn't have the pieces to have the type of defense that he had this year. And then he got all the pieces and we were top five. And then everybody got injured. And then we were no longer top five. So if you get your defense healthy the entire season and we're top five, can we say, oh, he was better? He's an upgrade over AG, or no? He just got the pieces and the pieces were healthy. Denzel Van says, I will say we win it next season. The Lyft driver told her she couldn't fit the Benz and she would have weighed down the custom tires. If you can't fit in a car, you can't fit in a car. If I was a big human like that, I would probably want to get into an SUV, not a sedan. I'm going to be more comfortable. We agree to disagree on Lamar. Shep is definitely going to have his own style, but it's going to be within the system, right? And the system is going to be man coverage, a lot of man, and pressure. That's what the system is going to be. It's already been laid out. He says she tripped and she definitely couldn't fit. All right. She needed a van. Okay. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, if you can't fit, don't get mad at the person who's told you the truth. That's all I'm saying. That's it. If you can't read, don't get mad at the person that tells you can't read. I mean, you can't. It's multitasking. I feel you. Hey, it's fine. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here, TM. So multitask away. She's going to lose the lawsuit. See, where he messed up was stopping and talk to her. He should have just drove off. You know, Should have just drove up. And then and then if they question him about it, which they wouldn't, then he would just be like, I didn't want to take the trip. I just didn't feel like going down to the stadium. It would have been a waste of my time because I would have got stuck in traffic. I left somebody on the side of the road before. It ain't, it looked like a crackhead. I was like, nah, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Look, but didn't talk to the person and tell them about why I was leaving. You know, tactical sport. I feel you. Tactical. I know you coming on when we do the big mock draft, aren't you? I'm just saying, like I pulled up, it was two women. They looked like crackheads. They had two babies. I was like, I can't take you without child seats. And it was like, oh, I'm gonna go get one. I saw two babies. Y'all look like crackheads. So I went to the end of the street, turned around, and drove off. You know what I'm saying? Hey, and then what? The only thing that you can say is nothing, because if you try, you can't report me for not picking you up. You were trying to break the law. All right, cool. Tactical sport. If we're doing man, Brad better get busy on that D line. Oh, and replace Glasgow, make him back up. Yeah, Glasgow needs to, you know. And I don't, I trust Brad in the draft. You always trust Brad in the draft. He hasn't. No, people don't like the Broderick Martin pick, but hey, he may surprise you next year. He may play games. He may get some stats next year. Hey, appreciate you, Tactical Sport. Now we're one step closer. For the first one, should I do it myself, or should that be should the first one be the one where I have all the chat people come on and do it? It's up to you guys. Did I run to the two fat lady cooks? No. I don't know what model of Benz that was, but it could have been a little tight. Lyft driver took one look at the rapper, locked the doors on her, and drove off. Wow, that was rude though. She might get, but that you're not getting no money. Especially if he didn't talk to her, definitely not getting any money. Definitely, because he didn't say anything. Right? You don't have to pick up a person. You do not. Like, you can get to a person and you can look at them and you can assess them and be like, I don't feel safe or whatever. Or for whatever reason. They're too drunk. I don't want them throwing up in my car. Drive off. You don't have to make any contact with the person. You don't have to give them any reasons. You just hit cancel and leave. They put Gibbs back on right, or Glass back on right guard, and put Mahogany on left guard. Now this depends on Zeitler, because they want Zeitler back. If Zeitler comes back, then you can have a competition in training camp to see if Mahogany can supplant Glasgow. I think he can. And then so he loses in camp and he'll be the backup. Vildor needs to be off the Lions. He sucks. Vildor may be going to the Jets with AG. is hiring two first-time OC, and I would think it would be risky business if they were bringing in their own if they were bringing in their own schemes and their own, but they're not. You're gonna have to be. It's the Lions way. Like I said before, it was the Patriots way when Brady was there. It's now the Lions way. You're gonna call the offense similar to the way that we want it called. You're gonna call the defense similar to the way that we want it called. Right? It's a system. That's how you sustain success. It's not by bringing in coordinators who are trying to change things. No. Remember, AG said style of play. And that's how they were so able to bring people in like Jamal Adams and Quan Alexander and Ezekiel Turner even made a play or two. Because you're not teaching them a playbook. You're teaching them a style of play. So the coordinators are going to be operating under the same situation. It's going to be a style of play. Yes, there are going to be different tweaks, right? Yes, there's going to be different shifts in philosophy. Maybe on 3rd and 1, you don't spread everybody out and you just run it up the middle. Maybe you put in a tight end sneak and you motion Sam LaPorta under center and you go on 3rd and 4th and inches, boop, right up the middle instead of turning around. Maybe you do a few of these things, but the terminology of the offense is going to be the same. Situational football is going to be same. You know, like I said, with Shep, maybe you have more combo coverage. Maybe you're more off man instead of press man. Maybe you're more press man instead of off man. But your man coverage, you know what I'm saying? You're playing the same way. It's the same play style. So I don't think it's risky. Does that make sense? Nah, I seen the video. He said she was too big to fit. Okay, well, he's talking. He shouldn't have been talking. He should have just said, like I said, I didn't feel like going down to the stadium. I was tired. You know, I was like, okay, let me take some other trips that are going to take me away from that, but I didn't want to do it. If you can make it to the Super Bowl, you get cut. If you can't make it to the Super Bowls, you get cut. Well, wouldn't everybody get cut? Oh, she was going to a football watch party. Again, he made his mistake by speaking. You know what I'm saying? He just made his mistake by speaking, especially when people are filming you. Because you know, like the first time you pull and you have a problem and you open your mouth, somebody's taking that camera out, and that's nah. Don't take the camera out or don't speak on camera. Why are you leaving? I got to go to the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? You know? Like I said, when I left them people, they were looking at me as I drove off. We didn't have any communication about why I was leaving. I just had a bad feeling about the people. So I left. You know? We weren't tricked. We were injured. You know, if you have all of those people that were on injured reserve, and even if we turn the ball over 5 times, which is a tall task to do, it was a tall task to do in the regular season, but we did it once. It would have been an even taller task to do in the postseason, but we would have been stopping Jaden Daniels. With everyone healthy, Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson, like those 2 guys weren't there. Amik got injured in the second play of the game. You know what I'm saying? But you bring back everybody healthy. Everybody. Even Marcus Davenport's Mr. Glass ass. Even Emmanuel Mosley. You know what I'm saying? You bring back everybody healthy. You know? And maybe Goff doesn't press if you have a healthy defense, because somehow he may have been pressing because he felt like, oh crap, I turned the ball over and our defense, it's not up to them, it's up to us. So I have to be Superman. Maybe that was the thought process that he had. Maybe that's why he didn't take the wide open Sam LaPorta underneath, and he tried to push the ball down the field to Tim Patrick, and it sailed on him. Maybe. I don't know why there was pressing. But I feel like if the defense is healthy 100%, there's no pressing. Because you go down there. That's the thing. We're up 7-3. We're about to go up 14-3, at worst 10-3. Okay? You go down there, you turn the ball over, and then you get the ball right back because the defense stops Jaden Daniels from getting in the end zone. And it's still 7-3. You know what I'm saying? Even though we did, when they took the lead and went up 10-7, we did go right back down there with Jahmyr Gibbs and score. It was 14-10. So I didn't understand the pressing at all, but it was what it was. I was complying with the law, but it didn't help that they looked like crackheads. But it didn't help. So when I pulled up and I was like, I think they're on drugs. I was looking for a reason to pull off. Yes, over 120 plus injured, even though we didn't have that many on the team. But I got you. That didn't help. That doesn't help. When you have more injured players than you have on the team, something's wrong. Definitely, there is something wrong. I don't think, like, when you can't field a team because everybody's injured, I feel you. All right, and you've gone through 2 teams worth of injured players. Yeah, it's time to take a look, in the mirror. It was Benedict Johnson. I can't listen. When Sam LaPorta is wide open, first down yardage, and you throw to somebody else, Osama bin Johnson all the way. Benedict Johnson, I'm with you. 100%. I don't understand that interception. I didn't understand it. The pick six. Sam LaPorta was taking a shower and brushing his teeth and having a sandwich for lunch. That's how open he was. He was. Nobody was around. Throw him the ball. I'm just saying. Throw it to him. I mean, we had to throw the ball at some point. We weren't just gonna not throw the football. Right? That wasn't going to happen. We had to throw the football. I mean, you got to keep them balanced. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand the pressing at all. Like, they did go down there and score, and then Jahmyr Gibbs just ran it down their throat, and it was 14-10. Like, we did come right back down and take the lead. Am I imagining that? So I didn't understand the pressing. I didn't understand the pick six. Didn't understand why it was thrown. Definitely one of the worst players of the game. What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? I appreciate being appreciated, TM. So, Mr. Morale 313, we were saying earlier that at some point this offseason, during draft season, I'm planning on having a major draft a mock draft, and it's gonna be with people in the chat. If I can get 32 people to come on, and I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet. We might have to test some things out. But if I can get 32 people, I think I know how I can do it. Just they wouldn't be on, but there's the 32 people will go to a website, and we'll do a mock draft. I think I'll have to figure it out. Okay, because again, I'm not big in the mock draft scene, so there's gonna be some learning. But I'm gonna learn with y'all, and y'all can teach me the tricks of mock drafting. Because I'm not one of those people that sits up here and tries to act like I know every single thing. I'm telling you, I don't know nothing about no mock drafting or no fantasy football. I know how to mock draft, but I'm just saying. So I'm trying to have everybody do like everyone will represent one team, and we'll do a whole NFL mock draft in a show. I don't know if we'll do if we can get 2 hours or if it'll have to be 3. But yeah. And it'll probably be on a Friday because I'll have more time. TM has already said that she will represent the Eagles because she personally knows Brandon Graham. Everyone else, I'll have to do like a random draw to see who gets to represent the Lions. Appreciate you, Jay Cruiser. Oh, Jay Cruiser. Jay Cruiser said, I can't do it, but I'll do it. Jay Cruiser, man. Hey, man. It's a lot of fun with you in the chat, bro. You just be saying some wild stuff. Oh, man. All right. I'm going to have to roll up out of here, peeps. I got some stuff that I got to do. I think my services are needed. So Mr. Morales said, let me get the Browns because they got happy endings. Allegedly, they have them here too. Allegedly. That's what I've heard. But if you want to get the Browns, you can get them. All right, people, I got to run. Once again, Motor City Cats back at it. Cam to give you stats, not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. Appreciate you all once again. And we up out of here. Peace.